Lily Gottfried is here, the daughter of the late great Gilbert Gottfried, a friend of ours, who has made a short film, right? The Hidden Talent of Gilbert Gottfried, available today on YouTube or by going to gilbertgottfried.com.
Yeah, I did. I made a short documentary about my father because no one knew he was actually like a really talented artist, and I wanted like his fans and other people to be inspired by that and know that you can be creative in more than one way.
It's weird too. I never knew that he had any type of art. Like I didn't know he drew or did any of that stuff. Were you surprised with how people saw your dad compared to how he really was?
100%. Like out on the stage, he was very different to how I knew him personally. He was like this sweet dad at home. He was very like shy and quiet, but the minute he got out on stage, he was like this like super loud guy, like you would never know.
That was the funny part too. I'd see him at the Comedy Cellar, and he'd be at the table just very quiet having a wine, and you go, "Hey Gilbert." Oh hi. He was just such a different person, but I didn't know he had artistic ability at all, and the stuff you showed is so interesting.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's exactly what Gilbert would have drawn.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Like it's a way to like see inside of his mind and like see all of his thoughts like written on paper.
Are you like him at all, or is your brother like him?
My brother definitely has his more like outgoing personality. I feel like I kind of have like more of a shy personality, but once you get to know me, I kind of open up more, and I think that's with him also.
Yeah, I think I think your dad seemed like he was kind of shy when he was.
He had like a persona, right? Like he was very outgoing with his persona, but the real person was a totally different entity.
Yeah. I've taken like little shuttles to hotels and stuff with him, and he was never loud in the car. But then it's like, on stage, it's like, who is this monster? It's a completely different.
How old were you when you got to see his comedy and got more acquainted with the way so much of the world knew him?
I don't know really what age, but I feel like I kind of, like when I was definitely like very young, I would like walk with him on the street and fans would come up to us and I would be like, how are you friends with everyone? Like I thought they were all his friends. Like I wasn't very like open to it. But I guess like as I got older and matured, like my mom would let me come to like some of his comedy shows, but I could only watch it for 5 minutes until the set got dirty, and then she like had to cover my ears.
Yeah. And then it is funny though. It's like I know that he'll be okay for 5 minutes, and then it just once it starts going down, it's gonna keep going and going and going.
Now, do you have any? Because obviously you put this together. This was your idea to do this?
Yeah.
Was it something that you always thought of, like, hey, somebody should talk about this, or was it after that he passed away, you're like, you know what, I want people to know this?
I, like, never really thought about it before until he passed away, honestly. But, like, in school, we had, like, a project to create a documentary, and that was, like, automatically the first thing that I thought of in my mind. I don't know how, honestly, because I never thought of it before.
Had you ever thought of doing documentaries about anything before, or producing things?
Producing things, yes, but I never really thought I would make a documentary.
And how did you like doing it?
In the beginning, I didn't really like it because there was so much information I had to tell, and it took like a while to put everything together. I had to redo it like 3 times. It was a lot of effort, and I was like about to quit, but like my mom like convinced me that this is like a good idea. Like this is like about your dad, like all of his fans are gonna like it, and that like convinced me more. And in the end, I'm so happy that I did it.
Yeah,
it's really interesting with him too. I feel like there was like his fans were so rabidly fans of his, but also when people got to know him a little bit more, like the documentary that came out, right, that kind of explained who he was more as a person. You got to see his home life. You got to see him stealing bottles of shampoo from hotels. Like you got to see all this other stuff that you never got from him on stage. It seemed like people just ate that up. So it's not surprising that people are still fascinated by all these different parts of who this person was.
Yeah, like there's so much more of him that you can learn. And I think the documentary, like the art documentary, but also like his like documentary about his life gave so much more of an insight to like his home life and who he was like to his family. And
to congratulations too, you won. I'm really getting old and blind. It's an 8-minute short, and you won the silver medal at the New York Alliance Film Festival. and you get an honorable mention at the Student World Impact Film Festival. That's got to feel great to like. This is the first thing you do. It's about something so important to you, and people are like really recognizing it as good.
Well, I'm really glad like people like it. Like I feel like that like kind of shows it also, so that makes me happy.
What did you redo about? Like, what was something you did the first time that you're like, I didn't like how that came out?
What made it hard was that I had to put all the information in one like place kind of, and it was very like complicated because there was so much stuff I had to put in, and like when I finally like sat down and wrote it all out, like wrote a storyline and everything, it made it easier. But at first it was just very complicated. Like there was a lot of things in my head.
And I guess you run out everything you were going to say, and then you said, okay, I'm going to show this then. Did you decide, did you write out the script first, or did you like line up all the shots first and go, okay, I'll do this in reverse?
I wrote the script first, but what made it hard at first was I kind of put in all the pictures and everything, and then it made it more confusing because I didn't know what I was going to say for each.
Right, yeah, you just got a bunch of, you have to talk about one, and then all of a sudden it moves, and then you're like, oh, you're still talking about it, and the next one's up. Yeah, I would have done a terrible job.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I would have sucked. I mean, this is actually really good. I saw it. Your mom sent it to me, and it was actually, I was like, this is actually very good. Not that I didn't think it would be good, but you never know what something's going to be. But it was very easy to watch. I was like, I wish it was a little longer, like, which is nice.
Are you allowed to go on YouTube and search for your dad's like material, radio rants and stuff like that? Because that's, I mean, something that I feel like he became really known for is just the roles, right? The roles that he would go on.
Yeah.
If there was not, when Gilbert was in studio, it was like once the joke started, there was not, and he was on fire, coming up with another punchline and another punchline and another punchline. I mean, the best.
I like really respected that about him. Like I wish I like could do that, but I guess I have like other ways.
Yeah, I mean, you know, your dad was a very unique thinker.
Very.
just shouting the most offensive punchlines.
Yeah, you actually could do that if you just stood in the subway and screamed at people as they walk by. Are you creative in any of the, like, or does your brother? Did either one of you want to be performers or have a comedy desire or acting or anything like that?
My brother, like, I think he wanted to, like, go to MIT for a second when he was, like, 7, and then he wanted to do something with video games, but honestly, I think he could be, like, a really good performer because he's very outgoing. And for me, personally, I definitely want to work, like, somewhere in the film industry. Do
you know what you want to do? Like, do you want to be in front of the camera or behind it?
Like, both. I'm not sure, because I could take acting classes and get better at that, or... like, for my whole life, I've always liked to, like, film stuff and direct.
So you've been filming stuff since you were, like, really young?
Yeah.
And you're in high school now?
Yeah.
So what is next for you? Like, you're going to finish school in a few years, and then, like, what do you want to do after that? Do you want to go to college, or do you want to just start working?
Yeah, I want to go to college, so definitely some place that, like, has a good, like, film place.
Right, like NYU or something.
Yeah.
You know, in high school, Coop used to Photoshop his report cards. His parents didn't know he was about to fail high school. We just found that out before you walked in. Did you ever Photoshop your report cards?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, now you actually just did well.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, he also...
his parents sent him to the slums of California for a year. Oakland. Yeah. Because they didn't trust him to go to college.
Oh.
So I'm like, what you're doing now, if you're not giving yourself enough credit, understand like that you are so far above the bar from what we're used to with people your age. It's pretty remarkable, you know. So congrats and congrats.
Thank you.
Also, we should mention that the film is free, but you can donate to. I'm going to make sure I say this right. The Gilbert Gottfried Myotonic Dystrophy Type 2 Research Fund. Is that correct? thehiddentalent.org. So if you want to, help a cause that, obviously affects a lot of people, and that it's got to feel good, like when something sad happens or we're grieving, like to be able to do something creative to kind of make sense out of it. I mean, that's a really good thing.
I mean, it was definitely my way to, like, I guess, cope with it and understand him more, but I also really wanted, like, other people to see that he had all these other talents.
Does your brain work the way his worked at all? Like either not necessarily on stage, but as a person off stage?
Yeah, I think 100%. Like, he was sometimes like a very hard person to talk to. Like I couldn't have like very like honest, like world conversations about him, but I feel like it was kind of like this subconscious thing that I kind of felt like we connected very well.
Well, I mean, he had a genius brain, and genius brains work strange. They're not as, you know what I mean? They're not amazing at this, but like at that, like there's probably nothing you could have told him that he would have thought was crazy either.
Yeah.
So that, there's your mom is the stable, like, let's be honest, I mean, every family, there's the stable one, and then there's the other one. And
yeah.
Did he ever do his Alan Thicke impression at home?
Maybe like one time. I might have heard it when they were doing like the podcast at home.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites. The Alan Thicke, he did Celebrity Wife Swap.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
with Alan Thicke's significant other, and she didn't like that he kept doing the Alan Thicke impression to her. She found it insulting.
Yes.
I mean, I like was there when they were filming it, so I probably heard it when he was at home.
Did you know that if your dad found something that that was annoying other people, that he would gladly do it over and over just to kind
yes,
of...
Yes, and I like had that personal experience at home too.
What would annoy
times.
you that he might do? Was there something, a phrase, or was it something he would...
I don't remember, but I just remember the fact that if he like said a phrase, we would say like again, and then he would just say it over and over again until it annoyed my mom so much.
Which was probably after twice.
Yeah.
But as kids love redundancy. So when you're a kid, over and over, there's never too many times when you're young.
Never, yeah.
Plus, there's also that thing of he would do it so many times that it's like, it's not funny anymore. But he keeps doing it until, okay, it's funny again.
It's funny again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a shelf life where it dies, but then it comes back. And
right.
He just plowed right through it, which was great.
Yeah.
Now, are you good in school, or is this like the best thing you're doing, or is it not your thing?
Like it's been a hard year because I moved like from Florida back to New York, and I'm going to like a new school and everything. So my grades this year definitely weren't at like its peak, but I feel like this was kind of a way to like show my abilities more.
But they weren't like, I have to Photoshop my report card bad.
No.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Do you miss, I mean, you probably miss your friends, but do you miss Florida, or do you prefer New York?
I don't know, because I like New York and like the whole like city life and everything, but it's definitely been like a harder year than last year, and I do miss like my friends from Florida, and I liked like being able to just like open the door and walk outside.
How hard is it at 16 to make new friends? Like when you move to a new place, I mean, that's got to be a nightmare.
Yeah, Jim was just saying yesterday, you can't make any 16-year-old friends anymore.
I know. I'm on TikTok. I do funny dances. They go, you fat boomer. But if you're, it just seems impossible. Like I moved once or twice when I was a kid, and then never again. But it always sucks going to a new school and meeting new people.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because last year I feel like it was kind of easy. I was going into 9th grade and like kind of everyone was new.
Right.
So I found like my crew pretty easily. But going to a new school where everyone's been there for like years and they all known each other for years, it's definitely hard.
Can I ask your opinion as a 16-year-old? This is a conversation that has been happening around here lately. Troy is, he's going through like a late midlife crisis, and he's been he's found new pop music, and he's coming up with all these ridiculous opinions on music that is really designed for young people. And he's been running around here insisting that Zayn is the number 2 in One Direction. And to Travis and I, this sounds ridiculous, right? Like it's clearly Niall. But Troy is like up and down insisting it's Zayn. You seem like you'd probably be the authority on this more than any of us.
I think I prefer Zayn.
Wow. Here we go.
Oh shit. Wow.
She knows what's up.
That's
There
real
it is.
strong. That's real strong.
Solidified.
All right.
Unpopular opinion, but
That's unpopular though.
I don't know. I don't listen to One Direction that much, but I do know enough to say that it's Zayn.
Do you not like them because they're a little too childish?
I don't know.
Be like
I just
Harry
listen to
Styles.
other
Though.
No.
Whoa! Why don't you
hot take.
How come you
I mean,
don't like him?
I don't hate him.
No,
I just
no.
don't listen to him that much.
Right. It's just who are you listening to?
Older music.
Because you're cool.
Yeah.
And also probably because you grew up with all these older influence, like older movies? Do you watch older movies? Did your father ever make you like, or ask you to watch older films?
I watched like a lot of monster old movies.
Old Abbott and Costello,
Yeah,
or old Lon
yeah.
Chaney stuff.
Yes.
It is funny, right? Like someone
Yes.
who's someone who's like 40 might not have seen a lot of those things, but because your dad, he just kind of like loved everything before 1980. I think.
Yeah. I liked growing up with that, like
You
having
did.
that experience and like seeing all these like movies and like hearing about all these like artists and stuff. Like I have a record player and I like went to a store and I just bought like all these like old records.
Do you still like old movies, or are you kind of done with them?
Old movies, not really, but I stuck with the music.
Which is like what music?
Like I listened to Radiohead, which isn't really that old, but I like
Well,
them.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
older than I
Yeah,
think people realize.
yeah.
You know, it is. You know.
Yeah, a lot of like Beatles and stuff. And then I like in the records I got, they're definitely like way too old for me to know. But my mom listened to a lot of the music, so she's gonna like put me on to that.
Isn't it crazy how the Beatles, like, I can't think of any band that, like, generationally, like, just works for every group of young people. Like, I'm
It
sure
just
they're not.
holds up. They're timeless.
They really hold up. Like, do other people in
100%.
your age group like them, or they look at you like, what are you listening to?
No, I think a lot of people definitely like them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I can't think of anyone else that. Bob Marley seems to cross over, like, every race. Bob Marley kind of equally crosses over, and the Beatles, it's with the age.
I also think that, especially now, there's so much more exposure to older music where you can find it. Like when we were growing up, like you wouldn't go and buy a CD of like an older band, but if it were just online, right? If it were just on Spotify or YouTube,
I guess if
it
you could
might
just
be
click
easier
it.
to find it. Like it's easier to find like Radiohead, even though it's 30 years old, than whatever when we were growing up. You know, stuff from the 60s. I'm not going to go buy the Mamas and the Papas.
I just bought the Mamas and the Papas.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You bought on Spotify?
I got like their album record.
You bought a record?
Yeah.
A stupid question. Of course you did. And you really like it?
Yeah. I haven't listened to it on like my record player, but yeah.
But
Do
know
you
like it.
do you like the sound? Because there's this whole thing now with records where people like, I like the full rich sound. Do you see a difference between that and listening on your phone?
Yeah. It's more like clear. I feel like it's more like fake, kind of like too like perfect, I guess, when it's on your phone. I feel like on a record it kind of gives it more of that like scratchy, like richer feeling.
Yeah, that little crackle. There's a
Yeah.
little crackle that
Yeah.
happens on a record, which I hated because I grew up with it.
There's something tangible about it.
I guess so, yeah, and it does have a nice rich sound.
Right.
But I mean, once I got like digital music, I'll never go back.
Yeah.
Because wait till you start having albums skip. Have you any of your records skip where they just keep playing the same thing over and over? It drives you crazy.
I haven't had that happen.
Okay, if it does, you'll think of this moment if it happens, and you go, yeah, records suck. I hate records. I also, now, do you have any more festivals that you're entering this in, or like what happens with this now? Because it's obviously gotten such a good response.
I applied to a bunch, so I guess we'll see what happens.
Oh, you have to send it out and see if they're going
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Are you nervous watching it in front of? Because I hate watching anything I do, and so does everybody else. But I hate watching that in front of people.
It's a little bit scary, but I guess like through my experiences so far, like being at a film festival, I kind of imagine myself as the audience watching it instead of like that I like made this film, and it makes it easier.
Right, because you're just kind of narrating something. It's not like your jokes or your paintings or your pictures. It's just you're just telling somebody about somebody
Yeah,
else.
It's by the way, as we said earlier, it's available on YouTube right now if you want to check it out on Gilbert Gottfried's YouTube channel. I know that you also helped him with his social media, which could not have been an easy task because Jim, I'm sure you remember that he was on Zoom with us a few times during the pandemic, but there was one time where you guys left him alone to get on Zoom with us, and I mean the whole show we're on live. The whole show was just Gilbert fumbling with his Zoom cameras, trying to figure out how to get connected, and us watching him going like, "No, you're on, and he,
What do we? What? No, I think. What do we?
I don't see you. And then your mom would come in and fix it. And go, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it couldn't have been the easiest process to get him involved with technology.
He isn't good at technology, which is why I kind of told him what to do and filmed everything and made all the ideas. So, like, I think his fans definitely liked it because it was a lot of more, like, modern humor that was popular, like, on TikTok at the time. Like, I got him almost, like, 1 million followers and
Really?
a ton of likes. So, he was definitely, like, it was very fun for me.
Yeah.
To do his social media?
Yeah.
It's got to be, like, we talked about this before you came in, like, we're all older, so we didn't grow up with social media.
Some of us older than others.
Yeah, I would be the oldest person in the room. But he looks older. He looks, which is horrible for him.
Fair.
Growing up with social media, like, are you, like, because everybody gets in trouble, are you afraid of, like, what jokes you might make, or are you really careful about everything you write because you see what happens?
Yes and no. I feel like I could be more careful, but in terms of like some of the stuff I put out, I feel like I have like a good judgment.
That you're not going to say anything stupid?
No.
Do you watch what your friends are doing and go like, oh, their life's going to be ruined in a week?
Maybe sometimes.
Anonymous teens getting canceled.
But you know what I mean? Like, you see somebody, right? Like, I'll see sometimes a person make a joke and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, there's definitely like a lot of like controversial information that's put out on TikTok.
There is,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And you're on TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you what do you post? Do you post jokes? Do you post real life?
Conspiracy theories.
Not really.
Facts, truths.
I guess just like my life on TikTok.
Oh.
But for my dad, I had definitely more of like the comedy. Like I feel like I could post. No, honestly, I feel like I could never post like comedy stuff because it was his whole like personality and like who people knew him as. So it was so much easier to make videos for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great to get his content out to an entirely new generation in this way that people are consuming content is incredible. But it's also like, it's got to be wild for you because like Disney cartoons last forever. Like when every kid still grows up with Disney cartoons. I'll show my kids the same cartoons that I watched. So like when you realize that your dad's the parrot in Aladdin, that's not a typical thing for a child to grow up with. That had to be a wild experience.
I've watched the movie a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I feel like I never really thought that much of it.
Because he's not screaming like a parrot around the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you able to make that connection? Like, you knew it was him, but would you hear that and go, that's dad, or would it just be kind of part of the movie?
Part of the movie, yeah. It wasn't until I like grew up more and like until people would come up to me and say like, oh my god, that's your dad, like he was like my entire childhood, and then it kind of like clicked.
Did you ever see Problem Child?
Yes.
He was great.
I love
man.
Problem Child.
Yeah.
I don't think was that Macaulay Culkin?
No. That's John Ritter, and I don't know what the kid's name was. He was mainly famous for Problem Child. Oh. But yeah, it's great. Gilbert plays the principal.
Do you like to see too, like your dad gets so many nice tributes and nobody has a bad thing to say about him? Like, it's very rare for comedians, like for no one to have a bad thing to say, but no one has anything negative to say about your father. Like, that's got to make you feel good if you see all these nice tributes and the respect people have for your father.
Yeah, it makes me really happy.
It does.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, he's definitely made like a lot of controversial jokes over the years, but in the end, people think he's like even funnier. So
there was a commitment he had to it, and there was an odd, like, he was a very smart guy, but there was almost the innocence of it was that you knew he really was just trying to be funny. Like, even people who got pissed off at him, no one ever thought he was trying to be hurtful. Like, he would just say these things that people would be like, oh, but you just knew, like, all right, I guess that one missed. But everyone, I think, knew that his intention wasn't to be hurtful.
yeah, like he would kind of like go and do his shows, and I think there was this one time that he made like an offensive joke on stage and people were booing him, and then he was like, okay, well, this can't get any worse, so he made an even worse joke. and then like the whole crowd laughed.
Yeah.
Because he literally gives you the choice, like, this is how this is going to go.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm acknowledging that you don't like this.
Yeah.
It can get worse.
Like, he doesn't really care what other people think, and I like respected that about him.
Honestly,
Great.
yeah.
It's so great.
And if he did care, he hit it better than anyone I've ever seen.
100%.
Because if they're booing you for something you say that's offensive, he basically gave them a choice. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to continue to boo, and I'm going to get worse and worse, or you're just going to realize we're going to have a good time. That was a great way to handle it, because he almost couldn't be offensive the worse he got as he would go on, like Sam said, those roles. You'd be like, it's not offensive. It's such a ridiculous thing. You know that he doesn't mean it.
Was his reluctancy to spend money and search of value in terms of strictly money, his cheapness, was it ever embarrassing on like family trips or anything?
No, because I feel like people kind of had that impression. Like, growing up, he would always take me to the dollar store, and we would like pick out little toys together.
Can you imagine?
It was
being
definitely
in the dollar store and
a bonding
"Is
experience.
that Gilbert Gottfried
Yeah.
in the dollar store?
Oh, it's a basket. So would there be times when you guys were out and your mom would have to go, look, no, we can't. We have to.
Yeah.
What a move, though. Can we go to the toy store? Yeah, let's go to the toy store. It's the dollar store. That's...
My mom is down to earth, but she definitely isn't that level of cheap.
That's a very, a great summary. And you're very comfortable too, because I watched one of your interviews that your mom sent me on when you did some news show. You seem very comfortable talking and being in front of people and discussing something. Is that something that kind of clicked quickly once this came out, or did you kind of always have that?
I feel like I kind of always had that. It's kind of like natural for me, I guess. Like, I was definitely nervous before, but the minute like the camera like turned on, I was like fine and comfortable. When I was younger, I was definitely more shy, like in front of the camera and stuff, but I feel like it got better.
Plus, you guys did TV already.
Yeah, I like grew up with it.
And you did, what was it, the Tournament of Laughs?
Tournament of Laughs.
You guys were all in that sketch with your
yeah.
father, which was fun, I guess.
Yeah, I made up some of the ideas. So.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And he just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice.
Far more wholesome than your Tournament of Laughs.
Yeah,
material.
mine was humiliating.
It was
It's just
embarrassing.
as a character.
Yeah.
Now, have you met most of your dad's friends?
Yeah. A lot of them. Like, Jeff Ross is like a really close family.
Yeah, he loved your dad.
Yeah.
And Penn Jillette?
Pendula, yeah, he was in my movie, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did. But did he? I don't remember what he did, but I did.
He just did like we just had like a little interview on him, and he talked a little bit about my dad, because he knew his artwork.
Oh, he was aware of it before.
Yeah.
So, is this something that you wanted? What else would you do a documentary on? If like this obviously is doing very well, and people are probably going to say, "Hey, do you want to do anything else?" What subject would you want to do?
I feel like his documentary, like his like personal documentary on his life, definitely had like a lot of like personal information about him, but I feel like I could go like a little bit more in depth about my experience.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So
as his kid.
yeah. Plus, you're older than when the documentary came out, so you probably have a grasp on what you'd want to say.
Yeah.
From the perspective of like normal home life,
Right.
Like this kind of essence being the patriarch of the home. It's interesting.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, look, Lily. I mean, it's really. Let's give the proper plug here. I want to make sure. I'm a half blind fool. Let me see.
I was gonna say when you were like, "I'm gonna give the proper plug."
I know,
I'd
and
love to
I
see
realize
it.
my arms don't go out any further. Stupid fat old man. Oh wait, okay. Let me plug this. The family is also selling. They're selling limited edition prints of Gilbert's original artwork on the website. Now they're limited to only 300 copies, and it does have a certificate of authenticity signed by Dara, who is of course Gilbert's wife. And there's 3 different pieces. There's Chico Needed the Money, Fishing, and Mo Larry Curly. They were created when he was a teenager. Wow, a teenager in the 70s, and were discovered by Dara when they started dating in 1997. Dara, can we grab you for 1 second? You and Gilbert started dating in the 90s. How did you find his artwork? Did he show it to you as like something he was proud of?
No. I was in his bedroom helping him clean the house because it was a disaster. And I looked under his bed, which was absolutely disgusting, and I found them stored under his bed.
How did you guys meet?
We met at a Grammy party at Tavern on the Green when the Grammys were in New York in 97.
And you
February 26, 1997.
And you
Explain the story.
Explain the story.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe you could be an interviewer when you get older. By the way, great job, Lily. I'm very proud of you. I was at the food table, and Gilbert was invited to the party because he would go anywhere where there was free food. Yep. So we were in line, and I dropped the food that they gave me, and he picked it up and put it on his plate. And I looked at him and I thought, oh my God, who is this weird guy putting my dropped crap food on his plate? And he looked lost, and he said he was meeting his friends there and he didn't know where they were yet. So he came and sat at my table. And
was that a line, or was he actually waiting for friends?
He was waiting for friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's the first man in history to ever meet a woman by picking up her dropped food.
That's when
That's
you know
the
it's
first
the
time
one,
that's
yeah.
ever happened. That's how you know. And what was it about him that did you like the way his brain worked when you first met him, or did you like, this guy is extremely interesting?
I met him, and he had this like soft, sweet, innocent kind of look to him, like puppy dog kind of look. Like I kind of felt bad for him, but he was sweet. And then he hit the first date. He asked me out 2 days later, and I thought, oh, this older man's asking me out, and blah blah blah. And I really didn't know much about him at all. And he asked me out. I got all dressed up, and he asked me out, and it was the Moonstruck Diner on 23rd Street. And we sat down and we split one rice pudding. He was too cheap to buy two.
I guess there's something romantic about splitting a rice pudding.
And then he walked me home. It was very sweet. He walked me home, and he told me like an hour of turtle jokes. And I just thought, squid and turtle jokes. And I thought, this is the most bizarre date. It was refreshing. It was refreshing to have someone that didn't care about social norms, that was so odd and different, but sweet and funny.
But imagine his perspective when you found somebody that will put up with you splitting a dessert and then telling an hour of turtle jokes.
Yeah, he must have. He hit the lottery.
Yeah, he hit the lotto.
Now, Lily, when you're growing up, who was the disciplinarian in the house? Like, if you screwed up, who were you more worried about?
My mom, 100%.
Oh, yes.
My dad never got mad.
He didn't.
Like, maybe, like, one time if there was a buildup of, like, my brother fighting, he would, like, get mad. Like, I've probably seen him, like, scream and get mad probably 2 times in my life.
Wow.
It was always my mom.
But he didn't seem like a guy who would hold a grudge. Like, he didn't seem like a guy, if he was angry, that would stay angry for a week. He seemed like a guy that would kind of let it go quickly.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
We never fought.
You didn't, right?
Never had a fight.
Wow.
Never fought.
If you had conflict, would you be comfortable just talking it out, or how did you deal with it?
He wouldn't talk it out. I would talk it out, and then we would make a joke and laugh.
Okay. But was he a good listener?
Yeah. Was he a good listener? Yeah, he listened. Yeah. He didn't say as much, but he listened.
No, he doesn't say anything.
Okay.
But what about the time? What about the time that he forgot that he had a kid?
No.
Oh.
No.
When Lily was first born, I was at the gym, and I called him because she was napping, and I called him. I said, "How's it going?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "How's it going? Are you at home? You know, how's it going? Lily's napping." He's like, "Oh shit!" I left the house. I forgot.
He was gone.
He left.
He's like, "I'll be right home. One time, like I said, make sure she goes to sleep, blah blah blah. And I go out, and I came home, and you're like, 3 years old, whatever, up at like 11 o'clock eating potato chips on the couch with it. Or the time that you were crying. Do you know about this story?
Maybe.
You were crying, and he just was like, just go to sleep. And finally he went, and he went to check on you, and I guess he had dropped his glasses in your pajamas.
Yes.
In your onesies.
Yes.
Left it. They were in the leg of your pajamas the whole time.
How does that
They were on there. He probably didn't notice it. Put them on and just sent you to bed with his fucking glasses.
And then when he let me like draw all over my legs.
Oh yeah, he was watching TV and she was sitting on his lap and he wasn't paying attention and she took a pen and drew all over herself and he had no clue. He was watching TV the whole time.
Did he ever? Yeah, was he?
By the way, that moment of realization, that's the beauty of it when like your wife gets home and goes like, she's sitting on your lap and she's drawing all over her legs and you as the guy have to go, oh.
That's exactly what happened.
like you have to somehow justify.
She is. So was he? Would he give you advice about things, or was he more like you would just listen through a problem, or like if there was something you wanted to know, would you be more likely to go to him or your mom?
Like about what?
Anything in life, in school, you're having a problem with somebody, or you had a crush on somebody, or you didn't understand something, a problem.
I would go to my mom for like the realistic information, and I would go to my dad for like the jokey, kind of like funny.
I just want to hear what he'll say to this.
Yeah.
Well, the things he did help you with, like when you were studying, you read Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah,
School.
he helped
He got
me with
really
that a
excited.
lot.
He was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
excited
yeah.
about that.
Was that required reading in school?
Yes.
That's when you like submit a 200-page book report that was supposed to be 3 pages long because it gave you way too much information.
It was in like 8th grade, and we like had to read it out loud during class, so it was fun.
Was it funny, or was it just really, really thorough?
Thorough.
It was thorough?
Yeah.
Did you like the book?
It was complicated. It was really complicated to read.
Yeah, it seems like it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever read it. I mean, I've seen the film, but I've never actually read the book. Did you like the book, or ultimately not like it?
Half and half.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of cool 'cause it's a monster, but if you're forced to read anything, you're forced to read.
Yeah.
It's a monster, but it's still a book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, like Dracula's interesting, but you don't want to be forced to read about it. What would you like people to learn from this? Like, if you could pick one thing that people would walk away knowing about your dad.
Probably that like people always have like two sides of them. Like you could be like this one like really outgoing person, but also have this like sort of shy and sweet side to you. So I guess like that, like with every person you're gonna find like multiple things about them that you didn't know from before, and I guess like don't have this like super like strong first impression on someone.
Right,
because there's definitely more you can learn about people.
You're seeing one side of them, and there's a whole other part that most people don't see. And I guess as we, I guess our show is ending soon, but you're going to Europe, I think your mom said.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. What are you going to do there?
I'm going on a teen tour to France, Italy, and Switzerland.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
You haven't been yet?
I've never been to Europe.
You got your passport?
Yes.
Okay. I like to make sure. You never know. People forget things. Who knows?
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to.
I'm a traveler, so I like to make sure people.
Yeah, and a carer.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you very
You're
much.
A carer.
Well, Lily, this was great talking to you, and I really did like this a lot. I saw this, and it's really well done. GilbertGottfried.com, thehiddentalent.org, or on YouTube. It's called The Hidden Talent of Gilbert Gottfried. And you can also go and buy one of those original art prints. Really, really great stuff, and you should be very proud of this.
You Taylor Swift fan?
Yeah. I didn't go to her concert, though.
Why not?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's tough to get tickets. It's a hot ticket.
Well, I didn't know. Did she try to get tickets and couldn't, or she was just like,
No, I was just like, eh.
Okay.
She went to see Cigarettes After Sex,
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah.
What's that?
It's a band.
Cool.
She's got
She's
amazing
cool.
taste in music.
Because
Oh
she's
my
cool.
God.
Yeah, I mean, she likes the Beatles. I can't question anything else. I don't know who.
Yeah.
You got any Taylor Swift to put Troy on to? Because he like just found out about a bunch of her hits
What's
from
your
like
favorite song
4 or
of
5
hers?
years ago. So, like I said, it's a very late midlife crisis.
I don't know. I liked a lot of her old songs.
I like those too.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear
But
"Set
how
It
old?
Off"? You ever
How
hear
old?
"Set It Off"?
Set it
What's it called?
Shake It Off?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, "Shake It Off."
Set it off. Like a Queen Latifah movie or something. Set it off.
"Shake It Off."
Set
yeah,
it off.
I like that one.
Set
too.
it off.
1989 is a good record, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How old do you like to go back with Taylor Swift? Teardrops on a guitar, or not quite that old?
Not that old.
Right.
But
I Knew You Were Trouble.
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Like, I liked her a lot when I was, like, younger. I was a big fan of her when I was younger. And Katy Perry. I liked all the pop music.
But you're kind of maturing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your tastes are expanding.
Yeah.
Troy's going in reverse.
Well, see,
I
I
can
liked
tell.
the Beatles before.
Right, and
now
now
I'm getting
you're-
into Taylor Swift, and you're just reversed.
Who did
That's
you
all.
play in the car the other day? It was Coldplay, and who were a couple of the other ones?
I don't remember.
Coldplay, but see, Coldplay's
Imagine-
another band that we would.
I got a Pink Floyd record, though.
Oh,
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon.
nice.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest selling albums of all time. Good
Yeah.
for you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, most people under the age of 30 don't listen to anything older. Like Young Coop there. What did we mention before that Young Coop wasn't
To be
familiar with?
fair, Coop is he's an idiot.
That's not nice.
No, but
he
he
didn't know who Dave Grohl was.
I'd say it wasn't true.
He
but-
did not, and he doesn't know
I
who Tom
didn't
York
say it.
is. Doesn't know who Dave Grohl is.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's also. I mean, he's in his 20s. He's
yeah,
he's older than you. But he's dumb.
yeah.
You know why that we say that?
No, it's just devolving. It devolved from he's stupid to he's dumb to he's an idiot. Like over the course
I
of
don't
like
agree
an
with
hour and
any
a
of
half.
that. I don't agree with any of that.
No?
No.
Any of it?
I agree with one of the three.
That's what I was looking for. All right, you can go to gilbertgottfried.com, thehiddentalent.org. Check out this 8-minute short film. It's amazing. And Lily, it's a great accomplishment. So congratulations.
Great job.
And yeah, congratulations on being so composed at a very young age. It's really impressive and it's great. And,
Thank you.
yeah.